everyone, it's Argonath from The Right Way, and I got another interesting article today from the New Zealand Herald. Kiwi UFC star Isreal Adesanya takes aim at New Zealand bureaucrats over Dan Hooker lockdown bubble, and he's calling New Zealand racists. Well, I think you're the actual racist, Isreal Adesanya, because you're lumping in all of New Zealand against some sort of a grievance that you have with the New Zealand government. So let's have a look at what the hell he's talking about. So Kiwi MMA star Isreal Adesanya is not happy with New Zealand and says he will never fight here again. Sounds like someone who's throwing the toys out of the cot. So he's having a temper tantrum because he feels that his mates were slighted by the New Zealand government, and of course he will not fight in New Zealand again apparently. I'm sure if the money's enough he probably will, but if he doesn't, then it's only his fans that will not get to see him fight in person. So you're only hurting your own fans, you're not going to hurt anybody else. So apparently he lost a blistering attack on the bureaucrats in New Zealand over the authorities' decision not to allow New Zealand MMA athletes to continue preparations for the upcoming events using a makeshift lockdown bubble. The 32-year-old, who hasn't fought at home since joining the UFC in early 2018, says his dreams of doing so were now dead. Well, it's only because you made them dead, because you're throwing a temper tantrum. What a childish person. So, I'm never going to be a UFC fighter. Big ups for him to whatever he's achieved in the UFC. He's, a world champion. Good on him. He's made lots of money. Good on him. I don't begrudge him any of that. But you haven't learnt a smidgen of humility in your career. You just come across as a total idiot, and calling the whole of New Zealand racist. I think you're the actual racist yourself, because you're lumping everyone in New Zealand together, and that's what racists do. So his comments come after a makeshift bubble at Auckland's city kickboxing gym was disbanded after being served with a warning notice by police. So if you don't know the story, if you're not in New Zealand or you haven't heard the story before, basically when Auckland went into lockdown restriction 4, which is the strictest restriction, you're supposed to stay at your place of residence. You're not actually allowed to stay at any other places, so you can't stay at a gym. You have to stay at your place of residence. And so the police noticed this and disbanded them and asked them to go back to their place of residence as was required by the rules of the lockdown. Now, personally, I don't have a problem if they wanted to stay in a bubble and live at the gym. I wouldn't have a problem with that, actually. It seems perfectly fine to me as long as they stay in their bubble. I can't see any problem with that, but that's what the authorities decided, that it needs to be the same for everybody. Otherwise, would people just want to live in their business and then they could do work in their business as well? So it kind of means it opens up a can of worms. So I guess might as well just be consistent for everyone, and that way there's no one says that people are getting favoritism compared to other people. So as well as the fact Kiwi UFC fighters are among the many professional athletes in New Zealand unable to acquire MIQ spots, while teams such as Bangladesh, Netherlands cricket teams have been granted exemptions to enter the country. So that's another thing I don't agree with as well. We should be supporting our own athletes, no matter if they're in a team or so on. So it's not just Adesanya, there's other people, but they're not throwing temper tantrums like this idiot Isreal Adesanya. Very childish person. Great UFC fighter apparently, but very childish in his attitude. He's going on and on about it. I'm not going to go over that anymore. So let's carry on. So what he's talking about is that Kiwi UFC lightweight contender Dan Hooker and several other fighters and coaches had made their home at the gym in order to continue training, including Hooker's next UFC appearance in late September. After disbanding, Hooker and a couple of others continued trying to prepare for his fight at his own gym, the Combat Academy in Ellerslie, which is in Auckland. Again, they were warned by police because they didn't go back to their place of residence as they were actually told. Right, so they didn't arrest them or anything, just told them, hey, you need to go back to your place of residence. So stop being a childish person, Adesanya. Adesanya hit out at journalists who were allegedly staking out Hooker's gym to take photos of Hooker, teammate Brad Riddell and coach Eugene Behrman in training. Under lockdown regulation, journalists are considered essential workers and allowed to be out and about for their work purposes. So they're just doing their job. So why are you going on about that? They're doing their job. This was a story which the New Zealand public would want to know about. So they're doing their job, as far as I can tell. That pissed me off. Adesanya said in his video, "It's really like they were using your privilege to do what? But they're not using privilege. That's their job. They're journalists. They're up there reporting stories that will be interest to New Zealand people, right?" So anyway, he went on to say he would understand that it was himself who was preparing for a fight, calling the country racist and saying New Zealand flag is ugly. Adesanya, born in Nigeria, also went on to say he thought the Nigerian flag was ugly as well. "I don't really rock flags. I'm not really a patriot like that. For me, I'm about my people, and if you're my people, you know you're my people. I don't give a F where in the world you're actually from." Adesanya posted a shortened clip in the video on his Instagram account in which he appears on camera claiming he knows the bureaucrats of the country don't like him, and also he thinks New Zealand flag is ugly, cutting off before he goes on to discuss the Nigerian flag as well as the original video. Well, if you think the New Zealand flag is ugly, you can think of all those New Zealand people, as well as people from other countries who fought in the Second World War so you could have your freedoms, Isreal Adesanya. Alright? Think about all those people who get sacrificed, that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Right? They gave the ultimate sacrifice of their lives to defeat a certain group of people in Germany, that came from Germany in the late 30s and early 40s. And if those other people had won, Adesanya, you would not have anything like the freedoms you have now. In fact, a lot of people like yourself who was of a different colour to these people might not even be alive. Okay, so you can diss the New Zealand flag all you want, but it's because of the New Zealand flag and the people that fought under the New Zealand flag and had pride in the New Zealand flag is why you have your freedom these days. They're racist. Some of them are effing racist. It continues. Of course, they don't want a black boy representing New Zealand, but you're doing this to Dan Hangman Hooker. So you don't take into account all the non-white people playing in New Zealand teams, like the New Zealand netball team, the All Blacks team, playing for New Zealand soccer. All of those people, are the journalists calling those people racist as well? No, they're not. It's just you that's acting like a complete child, and not, seemingly your friends aren't getting the way that they want to do things. Even though I might not agree with those rules, everyone has to follow them. Otherwise, you'll just end up with chaos. All right. It goes on more about what happened to Dan Hooker and all this kind of stuff. I don't really need to go into that. Again, Isreal Adesanya proves he's got no class. He might be an amazing UFC fighter, and he's done, he's a multi-millionaire. I'm not, so he's done a lot better than I have, which is fine, but at least I have some class, and I don't go around calling everyone in New Zealand a racist. Anyway, that's it for this particular video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. If you like my content, then please subscribe. That will be muchly appreciated, and it will help other people find these videos in the YouTube algorithm. And if you have any comments, then please list them in the comment section. I'm happy to reply to comments as well. Anyway, that's it from me. Hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.